Hi, Jason Rosenblum here with another IP Basics, and in this one we're going to talk about trademarks and specifically what is a specimen of use. So in the US, in order to obtain a trademark registration, you're actually required to show use of your trademark, how you are using it in commerce that can be regulated by the federal government. That's what allows you to get a federal trademark. There is one exception where if you have a foreign registration, and you're a foreign entity to that country that you have the registration for, you can file based off of that registration. But at a later date, you still will need to show use in order to maintain that registration when you need to renew it, or should anyone seek to cancel it. But in the US, you need to show use of the trademark in connection with the goods or services that you filed for. So a lot of times what we see is a client might come to us to file and they're not using the trademark necessarily in connection with the goods or services that they'd like to file for. They might be using it for something different or not for as full of a scope as they'd like to. Um, so let's just take a look at some examples to explain better. So goods are generally easier because you have a physical product, so you can look at them, put the label on them. The box, the packaging of the product could also have the brand that you're seeking to trademark. So like here's a mug, they have it on the bottom of the mug. Here's a cosmetic brush for makeup. It's on the handle. Another plate that has it on the bottom. Here it's actually on, the website. Probably be good to have it, like here they have Vita on the brush as well. So that's good, for products, for clothing, generally you want to see the tag that the clothing comes on, or even the tag that would hang from the article of clothing or anything like that is good. For services, it's generally a little harder because also sometimes you don't necessarily always have a specimen that shows all the services that you're using it in connection with, um, or the products. But usually what you want, one of the best specimens for service is your website. But on your website, you want to have, the mark itself. So say here it was TurboTax, and then a way to buy information about the product and a way to buy that product. So that's what you really want for a service is you have to be providing the service under the brand name, have the specimen that shows that by having a website that has the brand name, a description of the services that matches the description of the application that you filed, and then also a way to go further from just having the information, but a way to then actually purchase. Sometimes we have clients that it's a very high ticket item. It's not something that is just ordered online in mass, that something like legal services in most cases that you need to speak to them. So a way to contact the person to finalize that order sometimes is enough. And it's very dependent upon the service that you're in. So let's show you some examples that are not sufficient. Here you can see, I guess they file for IOBIT, and essentially what it says here is that the description is insufficient reference of the services. Here's another one where they just had the trade name used at the bottom of the screen like that. That's generally not enough. You need it a little more prominent and in a space where it stands out on its own. Sometimes also clients will just they want to trademark a word that they use a lot. And even though they use it in connection with their service, they're not using it in a trademark sense, meaning that it's prominent, that it's like the name of the product or service. It's just a um, word that they use that they don't want competitors to be able to use. So they have to turn that into somehow a trademark by showing it a little better. Um, and here you can see, some other acceptable ones where they have, listing of the services here. And I will put links to these in the page below. You know, for an example, for my own intellectually protecting your property, you know, the mark's there. You can click here and see my services as well as down here. And then you can always, you know, contact us, book a consultation, call us. So there's a way to finalize that service. This is Jason Rosenblum with another IP Basics. Any questions about trademarks, especially about specimens, you can always reach out to us. We're at 888-666-0062. Thanks.